on Intimations of Immortality. Presentation by Indira, Guest Lecturer, Department of English, SF, CPA College, Bodinayakanur. Wordsworth's life. William Wordsworth was born on 1770 at Cockermouth in Cumberland. He received his early education at the country grammar school at Hawkshead in the Lake region. He was somewhat indifferent student at St. John's College, Cambridge from 1787 to 1791. Late in the later years, he went to France where he watched with enthusiastic hope the middle stage of the French Revolution. He shared the concepts of the revolutionist liberty, equality, fraternity. Influence of his serenity and patience. Wordsworth was gifted with an eye and ear marvelously sensitive to the slight and elusive aspects of nature which most people miss. His sensibility was increased by a long life spent in the country. In the Lake District is full of charm and grandeur. Wordsworth had a remarkable serenity and patience which enabled him to gather all the riches of the inanimate world without haste and without disturbing excitement. Sights and sounds. Hence, his poetry is full of exhaustively noted signs and sounds, the shadow of the daisy on the stone, the mist which follows the hare as he runs across a rain-drenched moor, the echo of the cuckoo's voice, the varying noise of waters, and the many voices of the wind. Wordsworth's poetry is full not only of the minute aspects of nature, but also of broad elementary impressions, more darkness and light, the silence of the sky, the moon looking around her when the heavens are bare. Treatment of human nature. Wordsworth deals with the broad elementary passions, the everyday affections, occupations, and duties of simple who are nearest to the soul. In many of his best poems, the human beings seem a part of the landscape, an emanation from nature herself, like the trees or the rocks. The figure of the leech gatherer and the moon, resolution and independence, seems such a part of the natural landscape as the pool which he stands. The woman who speaks in the poet, stopping westward, seems a part of the sunset, so blends is she with the scene. Simple characters. The characters of Wordsworth's poems have the simplicity of external nature, reminding us of the biblical characters. The story of Margaret in the first book of the Excursion and the Michael illustrates Wordsworth's power to give to the simple tragedies of the peasant world a monumental impressiveness. He is the poet of human life in its lowest terms, seeking the true significance of the life its simpler levels. Wordsworth's mysticism. There's a mystic strain in Wordsworth ignored the callousness of nature, its terrifying struggle for existence, and its carelessness of the individual life. Nature is for Wordsworth never merely a physical fact. On the contrary, nature is everywhere mystically transfused with the spirit and speaks mystically to the spirit in man. Language and style. Wordsworth chose to write his poems as he explained in preface to the second edition of the Lyrical Ballads, in a selection of language rarely used by men. He avoided poetic diction. For imaginative coloring, he depended on the passions inherent in the situations selected by him. Wordsworth's selection of the common language was not uniformly good. Common diction often remained a commonplace. Richness of nature. Tinton Abbey, which appeared in the lyrical ballads, the poet identifies himself with the river Wye. He says he was like a roe in his boyhood bounding along the river. As he grew old, nature gave him a sensation sweet. Wordsworth declares that nature is not just a physical but has an active spirit living and working in her. The poet connects childhood with the previous existence. The poet views the child as descending, trailing clouds of glory from God. Definitions of an ode. The ode is a lyric poem, usually some of length. The main features are an elaborate stanza structure, a marked formality and stateliness in tone and style, and lofty sentiments and thoughts. An ode is a grand poem. Wordsworth's finest poems are free from these defects, they are immune from decay, as the mountains are the stars. Two kinds of odes. There are two kinds of odes, the public and the private. The public is used for ceremonial occasions like funerals, birthdays, state events, etc. The private ode often celebrates rather intense, personal, and subjective occasions. It is inclined to be meditative or reflective. Tennyson's ode to the death of the Duke Wellington is an example of the former. Keats' ode to a nightingale is an example to the latter. Earliest odes in history. The earliest odes of any note were written by Sappho. Next and more important was Pindra, native of Thebes, whose odes were written for public occasions, especially in honor of victors in the Greek themes. Modeled on the choric songs of Greek drama, they consisted of strophe, antistrophe, and epope. Pindar's Latin counterpart was Horace, but his odes were private and personal. English odes. In English, Abraham Cowley wrote Pindaric odes dispensing with strophic arrangement. Pope composed an ode and solitude in the Horatian style. Dryden attempted the Pindaric mode in the ode to the memory of Mrs. Annie Kilgrove, song for St. Cecilia's Day and Alexander's Feast. Odes of the Romantic Age. The Romantic period produced a large number of remarkable odes called Rejection, Wordsworth's magnificent ode on Intimations of Immortality, and his ode on Duty, Shelley's ode to the West Wind, and to the six super odes by Keats, ode on a Grecian urn, to a nightingale, to autumn, on melancholy, on indolence, and to a psyche. Poetic powers. Wordsworth wrote ode when he was at the height of poetic powers and yet was conscious of its gradual decline. Nature had been the main source of his poetic inspiration. It was the source of those visionary experiences which Wordsworth regarded as the source of deepest illumination. Unhappy in joyful surroundings. Wordsworth says that he grew older and vision of his childhood began to fade away. His poetic inspiration began to decline. All living creatures around him, birds and beasts, were enjoying themselves, but not the poet. The poet could not be happy at the loss of the visionary gleam of his childhood days. Console himself. The poet is very much upset because, along with the disappearance of the visionary gleam, his poetic inspiration is declining. The poet sadly asks where the visionary gleam of his earlier has gone. He stopped the poem with the rhetorical question because he did not know the answer for the question. After 2 years, he came forward with the explanation that the visionary gleams we enjoyed in our childhood are due to our consciousness of our prenatal existence and our link with God. Thank you.